Hello, I'm Toycat, and today I come to you with good news and bad news regarding the Warden. The good news is that we've seen new footage of the Warden, and the way it spawns in is horrifying, which is incredible, and also there is a brand new structure to contain him, the Deep Dark City. The bad news is that, well...
So it got a bit bigger because we really want to do this right and do it with super high quality, but that's also the reason to that we moved it to the next update.
Or to put it more simply...
So we'll move the Deep Dark feature set into the next update, which will be after Caves and Cliffs Part 2.
Or to put it in other words, a feature that was delayed from 1.17 and put into 1.18, Caves and Cliffs Part 1 into Caves and Cliffs Part 2, will now no longer be in that update, and so to get all of the Caves and Cliffs features, you have to wait until 1.19, which is unofficially Caves and Cliffs Part 3, which is tragic, but you've got to admit, it's funny to say out loud. And so yeah, the reason they're doing this is they want to improve quality. To put it in King Bee Dogs, the developer of the Warden's own words...
just expanded, it's gotten bigger, and we really wanted to make sure that we did this right and that we didn't just rush it. That includes even unique loot inside the Deep Dark as well.
And I've got to admit, I was so skeptical when he said that until immediately afterwards, this was the reveal of the Deep Dark Cities, and oh wow is the only real way to describe this. Look at this structure. This is Minecraft's Underground's biggest structure I think we've ever seen. The Deep Dark obviously is going to exist as a biome in some form outside of this, it looks like, but now it's going to have one of Minecraft's biggest structures. This is bigger than an ocean monument, this is bigger than a bastion, this is a truly astoundingly large structure. I mean, as you look around it from all these different angles, you can see just how interesting it is to explore and to look at. You know, this is what we all wanted the Nether Fortress to look like, or you know, any of the changes they would have made to previous structures. This is the par you're looking for. It really is a cool addition, and honestly, again, by itself, it's great. 1.19 is going to be by the back door a structure update, and so yeah, looking at this, it's a really great little thing they're going to be doing in there. The first place that we've seen redstone lamps naturally spawn in the wild, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that is the Deep Dark City, perhaps Minecraft's most epic structure yet. It's definitely in contention for it yet, so that is really exciting by itself. But we also got an update as to how the Warden will work after a year of playtesting and a year of everyone saying, well, yeah, I'm just gonna kill the Warden regardless of what the game developers say. It's designed to be an unkillable mob, but yeah, everyone's doing it anyway. And so Mojang's answer to that is to put more thought into how it should work, and so welcome to the Sculk family of blocks. So we saw some minor leaks about these before as to what their names would be and whatnot, but now we're finally learning about, for instance, what the Sculk Catalyst does.
One of them actually is something called a Sculk Catalyst. And the main thing about the Sculk Catalyst is it's actually what causes the Sculk to spread. As you can see here, whenever a mob dies, such as a zombie, near the Sculk Catalyst, it actually spreads Sculk underneath it. And the amount is based on how much XP that zombie would have dropped.
Wow. So, you know, the Deep Dark, it's kind of overgrown with all these Sculk blocks, so that means that lots of mobs must have died there?
Quite a lot, yes.
Make it less scary. Oh, and as you can see here, when you mine some of the Sculk blocks, you actually get enchanting points.
Yes, and of course, if you still want to get some of the blocks for decoration or something, you can just use a Silk Touch.
And so a quick recap there, the Sculk Catalyst is something that converts the experience points that a mob that dies would have dropped into this kind of Sculk growth. It is a really interesting thing by itself, a mechanic that turns, you know, like potential XP that you otherwise wouldn't get, because if you kill the mob, you get experience, but if the game kills a mob, you don't get experience, but it will still give this Sculk growth, which then that Sculk growth, if you mine it with a non-Silk Touch pickaxe, you will get experience from. It's really interesting. It's a new way to get experience, and obviously, if you're a technical player, as King Bee Dogs mentioned in the show, you can use that to then make mob farms that don't require manual intervention, but will still result in some form of XP. So again, there's going to be some fun possibilities, not for making the most efficient things, but for making more interesting farms at the very least. And then also, if you mine the block itself, you get a whole bunch of experience as well. The main goal for this Sculk Catalyst is going to be to get rid of them as soon as possible. Again, whether with Silk Touch so you can use them later, or just to stop them from making this Sculk growth on the ground. Why do you want to stop Sculk growth from spawning? Well, maybe that will become clear after the Sculk Shrieker is explained.
And we have the Sculk Shrieker. So when this block is activated, it's gonna give that really really scary shriek sound that you heard now. And it also gives this darkness effect, so it's like pulsating darkness.
And so yes, this is a brand new effect it's
You
going
can
to
see now when
have.
you're
This pulsating
sneaking and
darkness
you
is not an effect for the trailers, it's not an effect to make you feel scared. It is a real thing that will happen. It's separate to blindness, and so we've spoken about it a little bit before, but actually seeing it in the game and seeing what causes it is really cool. You want to be quiet around the deep dark, not because you're scared of the Warden spawning, because, you know, you could probably deal with the Warden, but these Sculk Shrieker blocks are going to be terrifying because they'll make a loud noise, which is already like a jump scare kind of thing, and then as well as making a loud noise, they will make it so that you'll go slightly, you know, again, it'll be dark around you, you go semi-blind, you can see far less, which is a bad thing. And why is it a bad thing, I hear you not asking, but it's a rhetorical device I'm using to explain my next point here, which is the Warden, because let's show you how the Warden spawns now, shall we? As you can see, you're walking around, there's a ton of this Sculk growth. Again, this is a deep dark city, and so you open a chest, it makes a loud noise, which activates the Sculk Shrieker, as well as giving you the darkness effect, as well as causing a loud noise. Do you know what this might also cause? You know, I don't know what it possibly could be. Let's find out by breaking the Sculk Shrieker, which activates another Sculk Shrieker, which maybe because there's enough Sculk growth on the ground, causes a big old mob to come out there, the Warden. So, as you can see, the Warden is terrifying enough when he just appears out of nowhere. This new way that he spawns is terrifying because, again, like it fits into that whole natural disaster thing. You just don't want him to spawn in the first place. He is a terrifying mob, and if you do have him spawn, you don't want to step on a Sculk sensor. Even if you're crouching, it will cause a noise, and the Warden, as we've discussed before, is very much intuitive of noise. So already it was scary enough to walk around this place with any amount of noise going, but it's even scarier once there's a Sculk Shrieker around because the Warden might spawn. You know that at any minute, if he comes after you, you will be in an intense fight and maybe even die. If you make any noise, then he's going to come for you, and if he comes for you, he might start, you know, again, you're walking around right now. Walking is enough for noise for him to catch you. He drags you into a corner, and despite having full diamond or netherite armor, it was netherite, I think they confirmed earlier, he is dead in just a couple of hits. Again, just to show you that one more time, he's wearing full netherite armor. We'll assume this is tested on normal difficulty. He's got golden apples on him. He's got a netherite sword, and despite all of the sneaking around and all the, you know, panic, and despite being ready to fight at the very end here, he's like, okay, I'll fight you, Warden. What are you going to do about it? It's too late. Fighting the Warden doesn't knock him back enough. And in 2 quick succession hits, by the way, King B Dogs is dead. And so the Warden is terrifying, to say the least. This is our second reveal of the Warden. And I do have to say, if they'd have just added the first version they could have come up with into Caves and Cliffs Part 1, it might have been somewhat satisfying. But the Warden there wasn't a fully fleshed out concept. In fact, when we look again at the, you know, the deep dark city, and now you're seeing all those different blocks. These Sculk sensors, we know they're like a redstone thing, but also they work with these Sculk Shriekers. So you know, looking around this place, there's so much going on. There's all these Sculk, again, there's also candles. Wow, how pretty they are. But you're seeing all of these Sculk growth blocks, which you can mine. You can get a few blocks from, you know, you can get a few experience points from. But you're also seeing Sculk sensors, which you know at any point, at any noise you're making, if you're not sneaking around. This is the first time in Minecraft you want to be sneaking around, even when you see no mobs and there's no overhangs. But yeah, there's all these blocks which might cause you real issues, and so that's what makes the Deep Dark an interesting place now, like it wasn't before. Previously, the Deep Dark's a place you went, you found the Warden, or you avoided the Warden, and it was done. Now it's a place you get there, you know the Warden's not going to be there immediately, you know you're going to look around this new structure, because again, we don't know for sure if they've shelved the Warden cabin, but we can imagine this is, you know, the maxed out version of it. And so yeah, it's interesting because you're looking around the structure, presumably trying to find some loot. He did find some enchanted books in that chest, and you know there is great loot to be had, but you have to be quiet going around the place, and you have to be tactical in a way we haven't seen before in Minecraft. Again, break the Sculk Shriekers first, then break the Sculk sensors, then break the Sculk blocks, and then you can guarantee there's no Warden spawning. But what if you missed a Sculk Shrieker? Again, like happened to him in that clip, he did break a Sculk Shrieker, and he thought, okay, that's fine, I'm not going to have the darkness effect applied. But you know what? It wasn't fine, because breaking that Sculk Shrieker is what caused the other Sculk Shrieker to activate. That is what makes this place such an interesting, you know, mess to navigate. How do you prevent that from being a problem? And the answer is you probably just shouldn't. I mean, again, you can come in here with TNT and blow it up, and that will probably be, honestly, that is the best strategy in my opinion. Come in here with some TNT, just make it all go away. But I like that they're actually making you consider strategies that aren't just beaten by go in a 1 block wide hole. In fact, actually, again, even though we've seen a trailer, and even though it's been a year of development now on the Deep Dark, I still do want to know the answers to these sorts of questions, and when it comes in snapshots, we'll know more about that. But in conclusion, the Sculk family of blocks do look very cool, but it seems as though we might not be getting most of them until 1.19, which is the big disappointment here. 1.19 is surely going to be a pretty nice update by itself. It is the wild update. We'll talk more about that soon, I'm very sure. But the little addition of like Caves and Cliffs Part 3 right here, which already you could argue like, yeah, obviously archaeology kind of already is making a thing, Caves and Cliffs Part 3. So like the fact that we're adding another major feature is going to make Caves and Cliffs Part 2 feel a bit empty. That update has effectively become the world generation update, which is fine, but again, it's lost its face. This is the biggest feature. I feel like the disappointing thing here is that 1.17 lost its most notable features, new generation, and then 1.18, new generation is kind of cool by itself, but like obviously the Warden is the thing everyone's curious about, and now we've lost the biggest feature in that one, and so I feel like that is why 1.19 is being kind of easy on what it's announcing so far. Of course it's disappointing to have something delayed. Of course, with better planning, they could have not done this, right? But obviously, don't fault the developers, fault whoever in the management team or whoever didn't realize that like a mob that takes clearly well over a year to develop couldn't be released in time for summer of 2021. Yeah, it's one of those interesting delays, and while we're talking about delays here, I do feel as though 1.19 is deliberately maybe going to be a smaller update, so they can get back to the rhythm of either 2 updates a year or 1 big update a year starting in 2023. But in either case, it's something interesting to think about and to talk about for the future though, because I hope you'll enjoy this video. I'm very excited for the Warden. Let me know if you're excited too by hitting the like button, because I'll see you all in the next one, unless I die in a house fire. Also, today is the 9-year anniversary of my Let's Play World, and if you want to watch the World Tour, that's coming out real soon, or is out now. I recommend go watching it and or seeing it very soon when it does come out. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
That includes even unique loot inside the Deep Dark as well.
I'm sorry, I know the video's meant to be over now, but I feel like we didn't spend enough time talking about the fact that yes, there is some unique loot that will make the Warden worth going for, that will make all of those weird steps about creeping around worthwhile, and that is so important that they actually make that something you want. What is that something going to be? Let's find out in 9 months or so. Okay, thank you for watching, goodbye.